Hey guys, this is GamerCow. Welcome to an Amapani video, and you might be wondering why this is going up. Well, it's basically a practice for the Fangame Marathon 2018. It's going to be happening on Sunday, the 9th of June. It's going to be around about, I want to say, 2:30 in the afternoon for Eastern time, about 7:30 to 7:45 my time, somewhere around about there. It's a tentative schedule. It really depends on how everybody else's runs go as well. It might be slightly earlier, it might be slightly later, we'll just have to see. But the point is, I'm doing this game as a speedrun for that, because they're allowing more than just I Want to Be the Guy fan games in this run, so we are going to have a crack at that. So quickly, just before I do, well, I need to delete my old practice one, but just before I do, I have got an estimate of 40 minutes on this. My average runs have been, good runs have been taking about 35.5. PB's at 33, but I'm not going for PB runs to this, it's too finicky. So what I do want to do is I want to quickly go ahead and go over the characters here. So we have our four different characters to run. This is basically like a new Super Mario Bros. Game. You can play this 4-player as well, so everybody's on screen at once. And every character's got their own speed tier. It's almost like Super Mario Bros. 2 in that aspect. You've got different speed tiers, you've got different weights, so the falling speed of the characters is separate as well. Blue stars are speed, green stars are falling speed, and the special ability is different for every character. So Marissa, standard fast speed, you can do downward dashes to increase the speed of every character, but Marissa's still the fastest at that. Her mid-air hop is pretty much just a tiny bit of extra hang time, and her special is the broom. Offensive weapon that also gives you a lot of speed, but it decelerates very quickly too. We'll work on removing that in a little bit. So Alice, a little bit slower, a little bit floatier. She has a shield to block projectiles. That's handy in a couple of boss stages, so we'll see that deep into the run. And yeah, you can see she does have a little bit more airtime. She can get a little bit more height off of her bounce as well, so it's pretty good. Patchouli, really slow, really floaty, good control for standard playthroughs, and she has 2 different projectiles. Both of them do the same damage, but one of them you need to hold up on the control pad to actually fire straight up. Doesn't take a ton of energy up. Your energy recharges as you go, recharges fastest if you're on the ground. That does come into play a couple of times. Recharges even faster if you have all 3 health instead of 2. If you have 1 health, you can't actually use your specials, so checkpoints recovering health is actually important in a couple of places too. And then, just to quickly show Notori, because she doesn't get used in the run at all, she isn't quite as fast as Marissa, but she falls almost as quickly, so she doesn't have much air utility, and her special is the grappling hook thing, which honestly, her extending arm doesn't really do much. It can damage enemies, it can pull items towards you, but it can't latch onto walls. So, functionally for the speedrun, it's pretty useless. The last thing to go over is the one major glitch I'll be trying to use. It's incredibly finicky to get it in most stages, so I might not get it too many times in a run, that's why we'll explain it now. It is the broom bounce. So if you bounce off of an enemy when you use the broom, then you get to bounce immediately, and you keep all of the speed that the broom was using at the start, because the broom immediately has very high speed, but it goes to very low speed incredibly quickly. But bouncing off the enemy cancels the broom animation, so you can end up going super fast so long as you're holding forward, and it is really powerful. So that is the main glitch we'll be trying to use, and with that, let's get into the run. So normally I have a 3-second countdown for this, and I will during the marathon, but we'll just go for it here. So let's go. Well, let's not go, because apparently the thing needs a moment. I forgot about that. Whatever. Let's just go ahead and go. So yeah, getting to your controller, because there's not really any downtime in this game, getting to your actual controller inputs is pretty difficult. Yeah, so there was a broom bounce I was trying to get there. It saves about 5 seconds overall. It's incredibly difficult to get, because you need to land just right on the enemy in order to get, just hit them in the right spot. It's much easier to do with jumping bunnies because they are obviously jumping into your feet, like that one, but apparently it was a bit too late on getting it there. It's only half a second or so at most to get that jump, but we should see it in the next stage because this one is relatively consistent. Maybe not. Okay. Yeah, so that we get this one, it saves about 5 seconds overall. I think it's 4 to 5. It's been a long time since I've done this stage without this bounce. Doing the other stage on this route, this is the only time there's a split route. Doing the other stage is actually about 4 seconds quicker, but it's also infinitely less consistent. And yeah, it's only fairly recently been discovered. I haven't really been able to put the time into trying to learn it yet. So yeah, it's only faster if you actually get it perfect too, which is the thing. So another broom bounce you can get right at the start here. I don't think this is the fastest version of the broom bounce you can get in this stage, but it is by far the most consistent. The only reason it's not the fastest is because you can't keep it here. You need to wait for the platform to come down far enough so that you can actually jump on it. But it's still faster on average than like not getting a bounce at all, by quite a bit. There is a broom bounce you can do there, but again, trying to get it on one of the fuzzies here is hard at the best of times. Trying to do that when rising up to meet it is even more difficult, so yeah. Flags do, as well as being checkpoints, they do recover you to 2 health. Kind of like the Super Mario Bros. Ones, if you're small and you hit a checkpoint you'll become big, it's the same sort of thing. And then just a nice straightforward line to the boss here. The boss is effectively going to use a pendulum, so we need to hit 5 times, the small ones, and then the large one's going to be a bit more involved in that. So we just need to hit these a couple more times. And then here, if I can get lined up just right, not quite. You can actually hit this one by staying in the middle of it. If you get damaged and you're in exactly the right spot, you can constantly hit it. It's pretty good. Here I wanted to get the broom bounce to line up this bunny a little bit better. Oh, wanted to basically get this so I can use the timing of that, like it's spawn timing pretty much. And there is a good example of whenever you, even if you're in hit stun, as soon as an enemy touches your feet, you bounce off of that enemy. And you can use that in order to actually cancel hit stun, which is not useful in too many places, but it is good to know. Anyway, these question mark stages are boss stages, or should I say mini boss stages in this case. And this one is the first of 3, because we have the 3 fairies in the forest here, and they'll fight us individually and then all together as well. 2 of them are chase stages, so we'll actually have to chase the boss along the stage here. Luna goes horizontally across the stage, the next one will be vertical, and the idea is that you stop so that she stops going super fast away from you, and then you chain hit her until she dies. It's pretty good, but if you miss one of the hits, then she gets away, and you've got to go along the stage quite a lot. It's pretty problematic. So this boom bounce is quite nice. I think, again, about 5 seconds saved. When you can do a bounce along a basically horizontal stage like this, it's really good. But most of the stages later on in the game are a lot more technical. They have a lot more, far more horizontal and vertical sections. So it's not possible to maintain a bounce for a lot of them. So it's mostly in the early game that you need to get these tricks. It follows a largely glitchless pattern later on in the game, which is interesting how that works out. So here we have the Sunny fight, and Sunny goes vertically up the screen, so we need to catch her with 2 hits at the end, because otherwise she goes most of the way up the stage, and it's a pretty significant time sink actually. It's about 17 or so seconds to miss it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bounce up so that we go above her here, and you see she slows down when she's too far away from us. So we use that time in order to bounce up to the next platform so that we can just get away from... Basically they have invincibility for a couple of seconds after you hit them, so you need to make sure you're far enough away that you can go ahead and knock them out. Anyhow, taking it easy in the next stage here, we have the Yukuris. They're basically Thwomps. They don't really do too much here. You can forward dash that one so that you can get away from it, and then if you time the dash just right here, you can get under this one, which is pretty good. Stops you having any hits done there, which is nice. And now we have the one stage where Patchouli is used, because Patchouli's extra float is actually really good here, because that extra little bit of float lets you get up and ignore the platform down the bottom. I wanted to hop over that, so we're going to be a decent bit slower than I'd have liked here, but it's fine. It's not really too big of a deal. Patchouli saves about 2 seconds during the stage itself if you play it optimally, and then during the boss, her fireballs make it a lot easier to actually damage the boss. So she saves a lot more time later on as well. I didn't note this in the first stage of this world, but those blue wisps are they're ghosts, ghost spirit things, and the stars that they fire are completely RNG, and also incredibly annoying later on in the game. When they start moving faster, there's a couple of sections right at the end of the game where they basically just make it completely luck based, and it's not particularly nice. But that's fine. So one of the downsides to this game, there are a fair few auto-scrollers later on, but some of them can get skipped, so it's always fun to see that, and really there's just a lot of intense action for most of the rest of the game, so I find it kind of good. So Sunny here, unlike her brethren, has 3 different phases to go through. Most of the time we're just going to be bouncing off of her head like this, and then shoot her with the fireballs just to get her done a little bit quicker if I can actually recharge fast enough. And there you go. So she only takes 3 or 4 fireballs to deal with, so it's pretty good. Now there is a broom bounce here that actually saves 5 seconds off of that fairy, but it's so ridiculously difficult to do. Like, I've practiced that one for hours and never managed to get it consistent, so it is what it is. It's a very good one if you can get it, but it's not a deal breaker if you can't. So then we get this stage, which I want to actually get a proper hop there so I can get above the brown fuzzy. Should say the brown fuzzies are ones that you can't interact with. They just damage you. They're kind of like spinies, I guess, where you can't actually hurt them, unfortunately. So here you want to make sure that you take out Sunny first so that she doesn't get away from you, and then Star is a little bit far off the screen here, which is a bit annoying, but whatever. Again, just try and take out Sunny before she does an attack, and then we need to find where Star's gone. She's there, so that's fine. Just take her out. If you can jump underneath them, because they don't have a hurt box when you're under them for whatever reason, when you collide, they don't actually damage you. So you want to jump from underneath them so that you get multiple hits, which is pretty good. Here there is a broom bounce you can get with that, but unfortunately missed it this time. That's fine. It doesn't really save a huge amount of time because you've got to kill the bounce here anyway to get some invisible blocks. And then that's nice and simple for the rest of the stage. Just jump over the mace spewer over there. Now this stage you actually spawn in the middle of a block, and this game lets you jump on the first frame that you transition to a screen. I think it's 1 frame, it might be more than that, but I've never actually been able to test how many frames you have, but there's only maybe 1 or 2 frames where you can actually jump at the start of the screen. And oh, nasty RNG there. Yeah, you can actually jump through the platform there if you've got really good timing, but I don't think it's faster even if you do it. So the forward dash is just a little bit more consistent. But sometimes when you're trying to do the forward dash, you'll just get the thing anyway. This Mace Bunny is pure RNG, so it's always annoying to get hit by that. And with this stage, you want to knock one of these fuzzies forward like this, because they're green shells, and that will knock away a decent number of the enemies on the path, so that you don't have to worry about them at all. and it's kind of glitchy the way that you actually do it, because the actual I didn't get the bounce up. The actual hitbox of it, it's like you're double hitting the shell. It's kind of weird. I don't know. This game is kind of buggy with the sides of hitboxes and stuff. Jumping off of platforms is also not the most consistent of things, so you gotta make sure you jump nice and early. Anyway, this is where the game unfortunately slows down a bit, because we have Tater Trickster. You can see there's invisible stuff here. This is a just over 2-minute auto-scroller where there's pretty much nothing that can be done to speed it up. So normally, this is the first bit where I can actually start reading chat, because I can actually relax a bit here, because it's the pace of it all. If you haven't actually played this game before, though, this bit can get kind of confusing. So there's a lot of traps here that will insta-kill you if you don't deal with them properly. Should be noted that red spikes are instant death, so if you ever see any of them like here, don't jump into them, because that's the biggest way that you can lose a run of this game, is dying in auto-scrollers. Yeah, this switch makes the platform move up super fast, so you're gonna get killed if you stay on that. Never trust anything that is a different color. Decinoir are very well-known tricksters. They will do pretty much anything in their power to kill the player with funny troll moments sort of thing. So we see the Kaizo block type things here as well. They are kind of amusing. You see the red spikes there, you instinctively jump and it's, oh, there's invisible blocks above me, I need to move like super fast. So, you know, it's kind of a haha funny sort of moment. Once you actually know the traps, this isn't that bad though. Like if you actually hit these, they are springs to send you up into the spikes, but then the last one is a bit of a troll because it doesn't send you high enough, so you actually end up just jumping into the spike there instead when you thought that you were going to be safe. So yeah, one other thing with the movement of this game, it's kind of like Sonic 4, episode 1 and 2 did basically the same thing. If you are not holding forwards, you will not continue to move forwards. There's no like momentum in this game like there is in Mario games, so that can make tight platforming a little bit finicky at times, which is a little bit frustrating, but whatever. So that is Tay Fight. Also, should be noted, skip text is the same button as pause, so if I accidentally pause the game at any point during boss fights, that's why. Anyhow, this is supposed to be another really long auto-scroller that initially I used Patchouli to skip, because Patchouli's float actually does let her do this as well. But with Marissa's broom, you can actually do this stage as well, and it saves about 6 seconds or so compared to what Patchouli can do. So unfortunately, Patchouli's out of a job now, but that's fine. We still use her in the one stage because of her tendency to kill bosses a bit faster, so it's all good. So this would normally be kind of the boring bit with the run, because there's effectively 3 auto-scrollers in a row, but thankfully being able to skip the one in the middle one there makes this a little bit more interesting. But it's fine. There's not really a whole lot to do about it. It's unfortunate that this is in the middle of this here. Like, we had such an intense amount of action for almost 11 minutes at the start. Minus one stage, I suppose. There was one auto-scroll, but had a lot of action for the beginning of this, and then it kind of slows down a lot. But it gives you a bit of a realization point before things get difficult again, so it's not too bad. And there is a trick at the end of this this stage to save a few seconds by skipping a lot of downward transitions, so it's not too bad. These cyan fuzzies will jump if they see you jump, so it's kind of cute. They're almost like the claptraps and the loopy lights of DKC. It's pretty neat. So yeah, if you go up the top here, this is actually where the hidden book is for the level, but if you go at the top, this saves you having to go all the way through the conveyors at the bottom, and it does save a decent amount of time. It's about 5 or 6 seconds. So here, just want to make sure those maces are out of the way before I move forwards. I did hit the bunny, which is a bit of a shame, but that's fine. Doesn't matter too much because the checkpoint is right here. You don't want to hit that switch, because if you hit that switch and the platform is down, you actually cannot progress there. You also want to get a broom bounce off of that bunny, because that saves you having to hit the switches here. But it's fine. Went for another one. Didn't get it. It's okay. We'll get a broom bounce here instead. This is kind of like 4-6 in Super Mario Bros. 3, I believe it is, where you can go through the doors here and it's a second version of the level. The difference is the second version here actually has different like objects placed as well, but by getting a broom bounce there you can actually make that kind of ridiculous looking gap that you honestly doesn't look as if you should be able to skip, and it, you know, you can use the super speed from the broom in order to save having to do a bunch of the stage, which is pretty good. Anyway, Raisin, she makes copies of herself, they're illusions, no hitbox, etc. So just hit the real one and you're fine. One of the last major broom bounces of the run is right here, and you can maintain this all the way through to the end of the stage, or the end of this part of the stage, but it's very, very difficult to maintain it through this bit. It still saves a lot of time going through what I did with it, because you have to go... Basically, you have to make a platform fall and you go like under the bridge. Also, this game is a Toho game through and through. The bullet hitboxes are also Tohoized. So World 4 is kind of the low point of the game for me, because there's a lot of auto-scrolling here and not much of it is skippable. The thing is, these auto-scrollers can be, with the RNG bullets here, they can kind of be annoying enough where you actually still do take damage from time to time. So it's like that. I don't even know what hit me there. There wasn't a bullet for me to hit. But you gotta be very careful through these, because it's so easy to die. There's no more extra power here either, so I do have to make sure that I don't get smacked by the bunny. And there we go. Nice and straightforward. So 4-2 here. I mean, there's some decent gimmicks in this world. It's just they're not good for speedrunning. So we need to wait on the platform here to rise up. Hopefully not get sniped by the stars on the way past as well. And then we need to actually make this guy trigger the platform. You could also damage boost and land on the platform, but you're taking 2 hits in that space, which is not ideal. One of the biggest killers in this area is jumping too early and actually clipping yourself on spikes and whatnot. It's very easy to just think that you can go super early. It's like, oh yeah, I can make this jump, no problem. But yeah, oftentimes you end up just a little bit short and it ends up killing you for it, and it's super painful because these things take a long time to go down, and if you end up getting caught by like a stupid damage, like a stupid, oh I didn't quite jump enough, especially for this jump shouldn't be difficult, but if you're a little bit too hasty you'll end up getting clipped, and it's a long time to have to do that again, so definitely look out for that. Anyway, here you want to jump because there's an enemy shooting bullets down below that'll hit you if you don't, so just casually jump over that. And then the last part here is not too bad. You can get a broom bounce off of that fairy just to save like a fraction of a second, but it's not really too big of a deal. So, mini-boss time, it's Yoshika stage, and this is a maze level through and through. It's not too difficult, but it's very easy to get lost the first time that you play this. And I don't actually remember where the book is in this stage either, if you're going for 100%. I haven't done 100% in this game in so long that I just don't remember it. So here you're supposed to count how many of the fuzzies fell down. Spoilers, it's always 5. So yeah. You'll have to redo that room if you don't get that. Anyway, haven't quite got the quick kill setup right for this, unfortunately, but that is fine. We can make do. We just, I think, need to make sure that, yeah, she stays low enough that I can get a hit on. And maybe I can use some of these ones to hit as well. I don't know. We'll do some exploring with this. So, I want to make sure that, yeah, she is low enough that I can just hit her with the the shots here. You can hit her with just the first 6 fuzzies that come up, and that's a little bit faster. But if you can't do that, make sure that she stays low enough that you can just knock the next ones into her, because otherwise that fight gets really ugly. Anyway, here there's switches that make the platforms go in different directions, or just make other things go in different directions. So we're going to skip a couple of them because we can, and we don't have to worry about it. So there was one switch just before the checkpoint we were supposed to hit that at the top to make the platform go back down. There's also one at the top there that makes the platform go to the left, but we can just do that and it's no problem. So switches that interact with the stuff here, you need to make sure you bounce off of one of those fuzzies, otherwise you won't get enough height to get up there. Just make sure you jump over the red spikes as well, because that gets painful otherwise. And there we go. Now for an unfortunately super dull auto-scroller. It's not a whole lot going on. It's not even that sort of difficult in terms of dying here. One other thing I guess I can bring up whilst we're in here, might not see it, but these blocks are kind of seamed. So there's a chance, if you're hitting what looks like a flat roof, there's a chance that you might actually instead end up hitting the space between the blocks, and if that happens, all of your vertical momentum just dies. Oh, not even vertical, your horizontal momentum just dies, and you end up falling straight down, which is super annoying for a couple of stages. Most notably, the middle of the final world, World 5, is really annoying for that. So yeah, it can get frustrating, but every game has its flaws, right? So this is actually one of the best stages in this world. It's a super tight timing stage. Well, I say super tight. You got like 100 seconds per section here. It's really not that bad, but it's definitely one of the few stages where you could run out of time. This one hurts a lot to practice though, because the speed at which you need to go up. You can actually get ahead of that brown fuzzy too if you're really good with the timing, but it's very, very difficult to do. So I want to make sure the switch is off there so I can get up here a little bit quicker and hit this so that I can damage boost at the top here rather than hitting the other spring, and away we go. So this used to be the run killer right here. This stage used to be incredibly difficult to do because Marissa versus Seiga here, this was practically just RNG and just hoping that you got a good RNG for it. But Alice can actually skip the platform as well. It's another one where you're supposed to use the platform as kind of a pseudo auto-scroller, but just like the last moving platform stage, you can skip that and make it a lot nicer. Now, Marissa is a little bit quicker in this room because she falls faster, but it's not too big of a deal. And Alice's shield makes it incredibly, straightforward in comparison to deal with this boss, because you can just jump and shield, and you can block most of the damage with that, no problem. She does spawn in random places, so it can be a little bit awkward to continuously hit Seiga, but that's okay. Get as many hits off before she disappears as you can, because now we have to hit Yoshika twice in order to make Seiga respawn here. And there we go. Oh, taking a little bit of damage as well. It's not ideal, but whatever. You can use fuzzies to hit her as well, and that does a fair bit of damage if you have ones lined up, but whatever, doesn't matter. So, on to the final world here, and we have just a couple more stages to go. You want to make sure you don't go too fast there, because you can ride up the platform, or not even the platform, ride up the wall as it's moving, and that's not a lot of fun. You end up getting caught by the bullets then, and it's really no good. There's a lot of tricks to this world, like, this is basically the gimmick here is that there's a lot of stuff which is unknown, because we're about to fight Nue, and Nue is basically an unknown entity. So here, the switches which are supposed to make the platform move up and down, you can actually skip them if you don't accidentally down dash. You can skip most of them. We only have to actually hit one switch instead of 3 here. but you need to make sure that you're quick in order to bounce over that. So you saw there was one switch up there that was supposed to make the platform move down again. That switch makes it move up. There was one that we skipped already to make it move up as well. And we're about to skip the last one once we get around the RNG stars there. So we don't have to hit the switch that makes this move down. And we can basically just get to the end of the stage. That's pretty good. This stage, there are basically enemies that start appearing out of the blocks. You know, again, a little bit of a trickster element to this. And if you want to save a few seconds, you actually want to go the book route, because you can just go ahead, grab that. Saves you having to go over a lot of spikes and whatnot. So here, we're going to jump there, and then you've got to be very precise on these platforms here in order to get, in order to get up before the bullets start firing, because now it gets a little bit tricky. And yeah, this can be very, very precise to do, so I'm gonna have to just take this nice, and I say nice and easy. Let's just go ahead and take them out as well. May as well, because they're gonna get in the way if I don't. Yeah, so getting up here before the bullets start firing is obviously the optimal way, but when you don't have any health left, you kind of can't get away with that. So here, I'm not even going to pretend to try and dodge these, because it's basically stupidly difficult to do. You see, again, using the whole cancelling iframes there, or basically cancelling hit stun using the enemy, bounces up underneath me, so that's pretty good. So there's a lot of invisible stuff in this one. You see these guys jump pretty high, and enemies can spawn out of this stuff. He doesn't jump very high because he tries, but he's not very good at his job. So yeah, there's a little item underneath that kind of showing you, hey, that's a trap, and there is actually text that appears if you fall down there. Guess the character's going, oh, I can't believe you fell for that. I don't actually know what they're saying, I can't understand stuff, but it's okay. You want to wait a little bit here so that you don't make the platforms go down too fast, because otherwise you are going to fall to your death, and that's not very good. And right at the end here, it's not too bad. Like, the auto-scrollers of this world are actually mostly okay, because they require you to do stuff, you know? It's always neat. So there, that's the place where you can get your head bonked, and it's really annoying. Being able to use Alice's shield in midair is an incredible benefit. Taking damage there is really not, so I'm going to have to take the safety checkpoint here once I get through this bit, because I can't use my shield right now, and if I get hit then I die, so I need to take the checkpoint just to make absolute sure that I don't, I'm going to restart that, just to make absolute sure that I don't die here. So we're using Alice because she has the shield once again to do the shield bouncing off the boss. Makes getting the cycles much easier to do. I should have been a bit more careful there. Oh well, that's fine. I could have waited for the bullets to go there. It is what it is. Sometimes this world can get a little bit tricky, but even so, no excuse. We could easily have gotten through that a bit better. But it's okay. I wanted to down dash, not jump there. Good job I didn't get hit, right? So these bullets from once again, the bullets from the wisps are purely RNG, and you do need to keep your shield there, so pure luck, and it's really annoying as well, but whatever. So again, this was another one that I used to do with Marissa. Marissa's a little bit faster for the stage, but she makes this boss a lot more difficult to try and quick cycle against. So you just need to stay above her here. Then for the last phase, well, she damages you on contact, but it doesn't really matter too much because you can just do that. So it's fine. And that is the last that we'll be using a non-Marissa character for this run, because Marissa is just faster for every stage that's left. But that's fine, because the other characters have done a pretty good job, except for Notori, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So this is a very easy auto-scroller to die on, so I'm taking the checkpoint here because it's marathon safety. Basically, I wouldn't take the checkpoint normally, but because it's so easy to die here, I don't want to die during the marathon, and that would be a very, very bad time, because yeah, if I die in this and I have to redo the entire stage, that is a colossal waste of time. So we're gonna not have that happen. That'd be nice. So here, you want to make sure you kill that particular fairy, because otherwise it'll shoot again when you're on springboard here, and that makes it rather difficult to time the jump, because it's very easy just to get disrupted there. You really don't want that. So we've got 3 stages left. This one is another one of those invisible block stages, kind of like some of them in World 3. Oh, not even World 3. World 2 had one of these. Here, you want to make sure that you have enough broom charged. Normally, you're supposed to hit make a blue switch appear down below, but I don't need to do that because I can use a broom to get across there instead. So that's fine. Here there is an invisible block down the bottom, so just make sure you jump over that. And then this last bit, not really too bad, although I haven't got the timing right this time. That's fine. I guess we'll just go ahead and do that. Get across with a broom and then get hit at the end. It's fine. This is probably the most difficult stage to do quickly, like consistently quickly. The last stage is really tough too, but this one is just an absolute nightmare to try and do fast, because it just doesn't seem to consistently work. So just take your time, make sure that you don't die, because it's really easy to. Hitting the spring is a little bit quicker than just run jumping, or like doing the down dash. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that. And then for the last bit here, if you can maintain your health, you can actually go ahead and jump up there without... You can use a forward dash too, but you can jump up without using the spring at the end, and it's fine. Last stage, this one is very difficult to do consistently. Here you want to make sure you time the broom so that you can get over, and then apparently still hit the enemy, but that's fine. Make sure you jump. You gotta make sure you jump on the block there, because otherwise it's very tough to actually time that right. This is not an easy stage to do at all. Yeah, you need to make sure that you jump off the platform there to get over the fairies. Then part 2 of this stage is a vertical auto-scroller, definitely the toughest auto-scroller of the game to do. Even just to do. Getting the book in this one is actually very difficult, and there's no way I'd even be attempting that at the moment. That would take a lot more practice than what I have done with this so far. But it's okay, because that's just how it goes. So here, it's effectively just knowing what's coming. Like, yeah, get that book and survive. Good luck. You know, it's definitely possible, but it's very, very challenging to do. So here, you just want to forward dash, because Marissa can run under the Yukuris if you have enough dash momentum. And the biggest bit for this is just don't fall off. Like, it sounds really mundane, I know, but just try not to fall, because it's very easy to slip here. Especially at the very end there. If you can get up a bit quicker, you can go ahead and skip a bit of that there. But, you know, you can get up to that door faster, but it's not easy to do. And here, mostly just try not to take a hit, because you want to have free health for the end here, because again, there's a lot of these things, they are purely RNG. The hitbox is fairly small, but sometimes you're going to get hit anyway, so you definitely want to make sure that you don't falter at the very end there. Especially if you haven't hit the checkpoint, to try and save a little bit of time and make sure the opening cycles are better. But anyway, let's talk about the Chimera phase here. Final boss has 3 phases. You need to hit her on the head, then the tail, then back to the head. First one takes about 10 hits, the second one I think is about 12, and the last one, I mean, it varies, but it's about 16 or so. The problem is, in order to get to the tail there, you need to ride a cloud that only appears from the left-hand side. So it's pretty slow, and it's very easy to get double hit here. There's another glitch where if you bounce off of an enemy at the same time as getting hit, then you don't get any hit stun, but you do still take the damage. So you've got to be really mindful about that. Anyway, the trick to this is to bounce basically off the side here, because if you bounce too high, then you'll end up just, you'll get too much airtime and it doesn't really work out too well for you. But if you can, like here, you can see just how high that bounces up, which is not the greatest, but I do need to make sure that I don't die, so we're getting the extra power here. So what you want to do, yeah, you want to just bounce off the side here, and win like that. Alright, and that is Amapani. So like I said, it's about, what, 3 minutes over my PB, but it's still comfortably underestimate. And looking at the recording time, well, according to my stopwatch, it's a little bit earlier than recording time. We're just over 40 minutes in total with the explanation stuff at the start. So if I have a good run, then it should be fine. I may need to cut down a little bit of the explanation stuff, but then to be fair, some of it was more just a general intro to the video, so it's fine. Anyway, that is Amapani in a nutshell, and honestly, if I can pull off a run like that on Sunday, I am gonna be happy. This did take more than one attempt though, and that's the one thing with a marathon, is it's gonna be no reset, so hopefully we don't end up doing any ridiculously stupid dumbs. This game is really hard to execute, to be honest. It looks super simple because it's just that sort of chibi platformer type thing, right? But it's actually surprisingly difficult to execute on this game. So I'm hoping that I can achieve this sort of level when I play on Sunday. But it could go up to the 40-minute sort of mark. The worst run I have done since Bats in this has been about a 39:40 or something. So that's if everything goes wrong, including dying on auto scrollers. So I think we'll be fine. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves. If you want to check out the marathon, I believe I will have a link to the Twitch stream in my description. It starts on Saturday. There's a lot of different games in this. Mostly I want to be the guy because that's the community this comes from. But yeah, there's a lot of different stuff that will come up, so check it out. And I think it's going to run until Monday, actually, and there's even a little bit of a bonus stream going on too, so there might be a little bit more than that too. So yeah, check it out, and I will talk to you lovely people later. Bye!